I'll just say a few words to begin with, just to introduce this, although it is a strange topic to introduce because there's not very much to say, actually. All there is this. There's just what is. There's just immediacy. There isn't anything else to look for or to try to grasp or find. There isn't anything to hold on to. There's just what is. There's just this. We can talk about that in many different ways, but we won't ever be able to grasp that. We won't ever be able to hold on to it. We won't ever be able to say, this is what it is. I understand this. All that can be said is around the subject. It's around this. Because what is absolutely unknowable. This is unknowable. This is unknowableness. It's aliveness. It's what is. It's nothing and everything. So, yeah, that's it. It's not something that is there's a quality of contraction that seems to appear within what is. And that quality of contraction, I call the me state. It's a state of contraction. It seems to happen in the body. And that state of contraction can come and go. It's not an absolute thing. But it seems to be there for usually from quite an early age. There seems to be this quality. And that can bring about a sense of separateness, a sense of separation. And also, of course, in that sense of separation, there's time. What is without time. This is without time. There is no time. There is no past. There's no future. There's no story of me which has a beginning, middle, and an end in a line. What is just immediate. It's just immediacy. So yeah, we can talk about that. And there can be questions that arise, and there can seem to be answers that express, but they aren't really answers. If there is a response, it isn't going to be to answer your question. It's very often going to be to undermine what is asking the question. There is no answer. There's no answers to these questions that we seem to have because there's a sense of separateness. What seems to happen is that sense of separateness can just fall away for no reason or purpose whatsoever. Not because you've done something and there's been a whole sequence of events that has made you better so that you can accept what is. No, it just falls away. That quality of seeking just seems to just fall away. It exhausts itself. It ends. It burns out. It dissolves. Whatever word you prefer to use, it just falls apart. And there is no sequence of events that lead up to that, because that would mean that we're talking about something that's in time. This is not in time. This is the end of time. This is actually the end of happening. So that's it.
That's it.
We can talk about all of that however you like. This is a complete free conversation. You can say whatever you want, uncensored. It's all open, because there's nothing that's separate. There's nothing that can't be spoken about. All there is what is.
So, David, what do you mean by this is the end of happening?
This is the end of time.
What does that mean?
Well, there is no time. This what is not in time. Only me is in time. Me, the contraction, the sense of being separate, the story. As soon as there is that sense of contraction, that sense of separation, it's in time. Time begins. And then there's a story that forms out of that. And that's what we call my life, you know. But outside of that contraction, there's nothing. There's just what is, which is immediate, just immediacy for no one.
The word being used, expansion.
Well, in a certain way, you could say that that there is that sense of contraction of me, and then there's a falling away of that sense of contraction, and that is in a certain sense a relief, which can feel like a more open state, it's not a state, a more open quality.
Everything's happening at once. Expansion. You mind.
All there is what is. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, yes. What there's just what is. Expansion and contraction are the same. It's just what is. So there is just, there can be a contraction, quality of contraction, the me state. That can be, that's what is. And then there can be a falling away of that. And then that's also what is. So there is just what is. Yeah. But for me, of course, there is a natural, there's a natural desire not to have that sense of contraction, for that sense of contraction to fall away. There's a natural want for that to not be there, because it's uncomfortable. And so that's what often happens, that this draw towards this kind of communication is due to that sense of contraction and the desire for that to fall away, the desire for that to go away, and the idea that somehow coming to meetings or engaging in whatever it is can somehow further that, somehow get something can be got which will deliver me, which will deliver that. Unfortunately, that's not possible, because it would be a process to kind of get something, and this is nothing. This is not, there's nothing on offer here. There's nothing that can be obtained here. This is just what is. This is just a statement. This isn't a message. This is not a message. It's really a key thing, actually, that there's this idea that somehow this is a message. How could this be a message? That would be a teaching. That would be me over here giving something to you over there. Impossible. There is not a me over here, and there's definitely not a you over there. There might be an idea that there is, but that's all. So this isn't a message going between people. Forget it. This is just an expression of this. This is all there is. Just this. Doesn't need to be anything else.
So David, when you say what is, like, so there's no time.
No.
So right now there's no time.
No.
And it is. What is?
It's what is.
So what is then?
What is what is.
What is what is? Exactly.
Can't be known. Unknowable. It's a bit annoying, isn't it, really? But I mean, because it's just completely undefined. But that's actually it. I mean, you know, of course, one can put words in front of things. This is a table, or this is this. But actually, that's completely what is unknown. This is completely unknown. It's unknowable. It's unknowable. You can't know something. I can't know something else.
So is Jyoti here? Is David here? Ben, Tage? We're all here, right?
Well, those are words. There is energy of a body.
A body,
Yeah.
bodies are here.
Bodies are there. Yeah.
Personalities. We're
Yeah.
we're all that's here.
Energy. Yeah.
Energy's here.
Yeah.
So that's understandable. That is what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying, what is can't be understood.
What I'm saying is that when you say is here, what do you mean is here?
No, I
What
was
is
just trying
here?
to understand your statement of it.
You can't understand it. I mean, I know that's really annoying thing to say, but honestly, I can't understand this. There's nothing that understands anything.
You have an experience when you say it just is. Is there like an experience that you're having when you say that, or is there a knowing or presence or what anything closest to that? Like
No, it's just an expression that seems to express here. It's just a response. It's a response. That's probably the best way I can describe it. It's just when there seems to be a question there. This responds in that way.
so is it the feeling of contentment?
There is the end of seeking. There is
A
no more
wholeness.
seeking.
A wholeness,
In a way,
complete,
yes. In a way, there's a sense. There's the end of seeking. There's the end of seeking. The end of seeking, therefore, is just the end of that. So the end of the process of trying to find. So, in a certain sense, that all there is left is what is, and that has a sense of completion about it. Yes, you could say sense of wholeness, or the complete the irrelevance of trying to find anything. Just that is quite amazing. Especially if you seem to have spent a lifetime trying to find something. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
I guess if we need to go pee now, we will be seeking in the bathroom. So there is some seeking. There could be, if we want a coffee, you'll be seeking a coffee shop.
Well, that's not in a certain sense seeking in the same way that what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, just
Yeah.
Because you could be seeking to buy a pair of pants
Sure.
or go to the
Yeah,
bathroom.
that's a different kind of. I mean, in a certain sense, what I'd say is that's a sort of, in a way, there's a sort of instinctive response. There's a response to eat, for example.
Right.
When you're hungry,
Right.
there's just desire to eat or to drink or to, to be clothed or sheltered or whatever, any of the things that you were talking about. And that's just instinctive, and that body will just do that, just like a cat or a dog or any other animal will just find food. That's just a response. Seeking is different. Other animals and plants, you won't find them seeking in the same way that humans are seeking. They're seeking for something that will provide fulfillment,
Or complete.
provide
or
a completion or a certain sense of there being the end of
Arrived.
sufferance. Yeah.
If all there is, if everything is all there is, why is not time also part of all there is? Because
It's an appearance of time.
Right. So
Yeah, it's
you're
not
saying there is no time.
Well,
but
there is.
actually-
Yes, I mean, I mean, you could say that the time, the ideology of time, the abstraction, the abstract ideology of time, is something which is just that.
It's part of
just
what
that.
there is.
It's just that. It's just that abstract idea of time is a quality of energy, which is what that is. That's a quality of energy.
So, okay, because if you need to catch a flight, you would be looking at your watch, then it's at 5 o'clock, right? So there's an idea of time.
It's an idea.
So when you say there is no time, go back to there is no time.
Yes.
I want to go back to that.
Okay, well,
Because there is an appearance. In all there is a sense of time or an appearance of time or right. So when you say there is no time, go back to that.
Well, there is no, how, let's put it like this, there is no real time. Time is not real.
Because
How's
there's
that?
no beginning and no end.
Yeah, well, because there's no me, which is the foundation of time.
Tracking a thing.
Time is me.
Time.
Time and me, same. It's the same energy. Time starts as soon as me starts, you know, as being real. You know, this is real. Time is real. There's a real past, a real me, and a real future. So time is apparent. It's just an appearance.
Instead of time, can it be called the cycles?
Fish. But again, its cycles would be associated with the past. So cycles of time. Yeah. There's always, you know, a past to that, a past, future. Yeah. That's the, you know, the time is a story. You know, it's a story.
Is me a story too?
Yeah. Me and story are the same as well. That's another thing that can be seen as the same. Story, me, time. Yeah. All the
One
same.
package.
All the one package, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it fair to say that all thought is story?
Well, thought is just thought. It's just thought. There can be thoughts. And yeah, in a certain sense, thoughts can develop into stories.
Okay.
You know, yeah, sure.
Can you explain the difference of like, I don't know, how you differentiate between the thought that doesn't become a story and the thought that does?
Yeah, it's the ownership.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the ownership. It's my story. It's my. These are my thoughts. This is my story. So you can have my thoughts, which are just thoughts, random thoughts, but they're mine.
And that claiming is just automatic.
It's automatic.
Yeah.
It's automatic. It's absolutely automatic. It's just me thoughts create stories, and it's all.
The deal.
That's the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fever. Me is a fever. This is a fever. It's a state of contraction, state of me. It's just a fever.
It's
nobody's
because of
fault.
a chemical, it is because of a chemical response in the limbic part of the brain or the reptilian.
Well,
part of the
that's a
brain.
story.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a story.
Is that a story?
Yeah. I mean, it's a
How do you
scientific
bridge
story.
the story from the body? Because we are here in this body.
Yeah. Well, we seem to be. It seems to be like that. We are here in this body. I mean, it seems to be that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at hands.
Right, sure. But that's what's happening. It's just looking at
guess.
hands. It's not your hands. Just
No,
hands.
they're actually not. No, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Do you think this is part of the new human that's evolving right now?
Well, there isn't a new or an old. There's just what is.
For our way of seeing things.
Well, I mean,
We're stuck.
how do you mean from our way? What do you mean?
From our density.
Well, I think that's a kind of story that somehow there's density which seems to be, in a certain sense, lower, and expansion and openness which seems to be higher consciousness, luminescence, all of that stuff. That's all about becoming. This isn't to do with becoming. This is the end of attempting to become anything, and any kind of process about getting somewhere. This is the end of that. This is not about getting anywhere. This is just what is. There doesn't need to be about a getting somewhere. There doesn't need to be an evolution.
Yes, we already are.
We already are.
Gotcha.
This already is. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the idea of something evolving is just something kind of interesting, because it's always this idea that actually something is getting better. That's sort of added on to evolution, but actually evolution is simply just, in a certain sense, change over what apparent time.
Mhm.
It isn't getting better. It's just a different pattern.
Mhm.
But there's a whole layer on top of that, which is humans believing that we're getting somewhere, because we have to be getting somewhere. It's very important.
Mhm.
So I have some curiosity. So like I have a lot of experience with the type of seeking that he is talking about, like just seeing and it's still not exhausted. Just seeking that
Yeah.
something's not, I don't know, it's like craving and aversion, but like something's not right.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
and there's a contraction in
Yeah.
it, and trying to get rid of the contraction. I've crashed on the rocks of that a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's not worth. Sometimes it relaxes a lot, but yeah, the
Sure.
seeking
Yeah.
is still just not exhausted yet.
And that's what seems to be happening. It's
Yeah.
a
Well,
fever.
it's so disappointing to hear like this is it.
Well, that's
for
a
the
bit.
personal energy.
But it's just it's just a fever.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about a fever?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Go to the doctor will say, "Oh, take this," or you take that, and doesn't do anything, or you do whatever.
It's like this endless like loop.
Yeah,
Because
but
it's like
just
seeking the end of seeking, and it
Yeah.
just goes on forever.
absolutely, yeah. It's all it's trying to find something which can't be resolved by me.
Mhm.
Me can't resolve this. No,
And a mind can't grok this.
and the
And a mind cannot grok this. There's no,
No.
there's no way to comprehend this.
No.
There's no way to do a thing
No.
to get somewhere else, because it's just
it's already what is. Yeah. So that's the thing. Because it already is what is, that's why this can't be taught and it isn't a message. And there's certainly nothing here that's sort of desiring anybody to get this, because it can't be got.
so. If there's feels like an understanding that there's like a complete and
Yeah.
total like, oh yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah,
totally
yeah.
resonates, right? Yeah, got
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
And then there's and also this thing like, oh, but there's a problem with the perception of reality, like, so there's like a knowing and an understanding, and then a falling asleep and seeking some more and going
Yeah.
back to the regularly scheduled program of life, and then another satsang, and then, oh yeah, I got it, I
Yeah.
understand this, but
But
why is
satsang-
this still exhausting?
I mean, this is not satsang, just to be clear. This
Sure.
is not satsang, because
Right.
satsang would be a form of teaching something, right? So then it's about trying to,
It's consciousness talking to itself, I
Right.
guess.
so
Right.
so essentially there's nothing that anybody can do about this. This is just what is.
So how does it burn itself out? How does it exhaust?
Well, how it's not possible to know. I mean, what you're asking is, how lightning strikes. Where it will hit. What will you're asking about what something like that. It's the same.
So
sort of
why
thing.
wouldn't you talk about the experience of how you got to this place?
Why don't I talk about that?
Why doesn't
Well,
David talk about
because
what
that would
life was
be-
like before, and then all the
Because
seeking?
that would be, I mean, that's what me wants. Me
Uh-huh.
wants a story so that
Uh-huh.
it can kind of identify with
Yeah.
if he did this, then I can do that as well. And then if I follow that exact track, then that's going to fall away. But that's actually not.
That's
what-
a hindrance.
Yeah, that's just attempting to find a method,
Mhm.
and of course that doesn't work because there is no method to this. This is actually the end of all methods. This is when everything has been tried and nothing works. Nothing works,
Mhm. Mhm.
and there's a recognition somewhere that nothing works. This is about total failure.
This pain.
It's just about total failure. It's not about getting anything. This is about something falling away. This is about the end of the end of seeking. It's the end of seeking. It's the end of that story of seeking. It's it's what's left. What's left is everything. It's not what's found.
It's annoying. Annoying. I mean, I hear
Yeah.
it resonates, and also the pattern.
Yeah.
Falling asleep, the pattern.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know that I remember that.
Is this understanding this thing that David is speaking of? A constant.
This is there's nothing coming from any understanding. In fact, I think that was the whole thing. Was before there was a very acute understanding, and there was something that I was desperate to say, and now there's nothing to say, and there's no understanding. This is an emptiness. This is an expression out of emptiness. This isn't an expression out of something. This is an expression out of nothing. It's not, it doesn't have any, because there's nothing to offer here. You know, before there was something to offer, I've got a lot to offer. I had a lot to offer. Now there's nothing to offer.
What might you say about if there's any relationship, even on a relative or in a dream, so to say, between early childhood trauma, contraction, and awakening?
Well, Ellie, I mean, there's a story that we can tell about this, which is that in early childhood, there seems to be a development of the brain. And that brain development, this is a story, but this development gets to a certain point where there can be an abstraction of the sense of me. There's an ability to abstract me. And as soon as that sort of comes in, there is an immediate sense of separateness and a huge, what you could call a sort of original trauma, if you like, or a sort of, a sort of huge trauma in a certain sense. This is again a story, but it's that is the sort of the place where time begins for me, and that's anything in a certain sense that happens after that point is really part of my story. And so anything even, after that becomes part of my story and becomes part of my tragedy of me being separate, is a sense of my victimization of feeling separate, my deficiency of feeling separate is added onto that original sense of separateness. And it forms a sort of superstructure, which you can call my life or myself or something of that nature. And that can become quite tense.
It's actually an energetic imprint.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a
And then it
contraction.
becomes
It's a
a story,
qualitative
but it's an
contraction.
energetic imprint trauma.
Well, it's in a certain sense, it's a sense of contraction, which, is like that and is in all the cells of the body.
That's why I was asking about the brain, the limbic brain.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what I've said
It's
is,
imprinted there
Yeah,
because that's our primary animal brain.
you could say that. Yeah. I mean, it's a story of what's going on in the brain. Yeah. This
What
is
do you
also
say about that energy, though?
what could I say about that energy?
Well, Because if
Well, it's just it's a,
there's an energy now, that's a function. It's going to act like a story and a function, so
well, it's a sense of contraction. That's what I can say. It's a sense of energetic contraction,
right.
sense of density.
So you know, how do you transmute that?
Well, there's nothing that can transmute that in the sense of there being me that can transmute what the sense of contraction that can try to transmute the sense of contraction, because it would be it's impossible.
But I understand that it actually becomes part of the neuron firing in the brain.
Well, again, that's a story of brain science. It's an idea about what seems to be going on, but it's not something that me can do anything about. Me is always attempting to do something about it, whatever it is. There's a huge intention about trying to fix that problem.
So are you detaching?
What is detaching?
Well, I guess we say this. Thinking nothing exists, not even your own thoughts.
I mean, I don't understand the question. So, what is the question there exactly?
Well, because if it's a physical response to an energy, that's an imprint.
I don't know
Like our
what that
hunger.
means. Really. Yeah, I mean, can
It's
you
a
talk,
physical response.
what is
Trauma.
trauma? Is a quality of contraction. Yes, yes, it is. Yeah.
And you think that you don't do anything about it.
Well, there's the nature of that contraction naturally wants to find some release, but nobody does that. Nobody does that process of finding a release from that quality of contraction. There's an idea that I am going to find a release to this quality of contraction, but actually all there is contraction in the body and a reaching to try to find something which is going to reduce that quality of contraction. That just happens naturally. Animals are traumatized, and then there's a response. There doesn't need to be a me involved to try to remedy that response.
There's no suffering around it.
No, exactly. There's no suffering around it. Even if there's trauma, there's no suffering around that trauma. It's just trauma. It's just what it is.
Not personal.
There's nothing. Yeah.
David, is this original contraction part of all it is, or what it is? That original contraction.
Yes, of course.
It's part of what it is.
Everything is energy.
What it is.
All there
Everything
is energy. So there's energy in contraction, and there's energy that isn't in contraction.
Yes.
Energy can be whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Again,
Can we talk about the nothing and the everything?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we
they're
can.
basically the same, right? They're the same.
Nothing and everything are the
It's the
same.
same.
Yeah. All there is nothing and everything, or neverthing, you know. But it's what, in a way, that's sort of like that sort of sense is, or the talking about that is something that only me does.
yeah.
Only me wants to know what this is. It's nothing and everything, or it is an appearance. It is trying to constantly define what is. So as long as it's got an idea about it, this is nothing and everything. This is an appearance. This is what me does is it tries to lock in what that is into a kind of phrase and say, this is what it is.
But it can't know. There's no.
But it's just nonsense.
There's no way.
There's
for
no,
to
it's,
know
it's
itself.
unknowable.
Yeah.
It's unknowable. You can't know this. So we can talk about nothing and everything. We can talk about empty fullness, completely meaningless. We can talk about all of that, but doesn't have any sense. I mean, you know, I have particular words that I prefer. You know, so I prefer immediacy. You can't do anything with immediacy. I mean, you can if you really want to, but for me, immediacy is just immediacy. That's it. It's aliveness, newness. It's what is. It's this. Those sort of words for me feel they've got, I don't know, je ne sais quoi, you know. But I think I don't. Some words I just feel go into the mind, and it's about identifying what is, you know. You can't.
I can see the mind has it thinks it knows something.
Yeah.
And that is the obstacle, if you will, if we would say,
Well,
actually, there isn't any obstacles, right?
No, there isn't. There's all there is just contraction. That contraction, the me state is a one force pony. It's a one what's a
One trick pony.
one trick pony, yeah. It's a one trick pony. That's all it does. It just knows how to do that. Ooh. One trick pony. So just that. It's the only thing it does. Whatever it is, it just does that. It's not, there's no intelligence around that. Like some special clever methodology or really trying to understand this. All it does with everything is that. Just contraction. For no reason, nobody's doing it. It's not, there's no fault in that, no blame. It's just what seems to happen. And then it doesn't.
Is it, have you heard or have, it seems like the more there's a loosening around attaching to being a something, there's more physical pain in the body, more physical contraction in the body.
Can be sometimes not. Depends on that body. Sometimes there's a loosening of that sense of contraction, and that body can feel pleasure. Sometimes that loosening of that contraction can there can be a revealing that the body's in pain. It depends on the body. This is not a cure-all, if that's what in the sense of what is not it is inclusive of all pain and sufferance and everything.
There's just a noticing that the more there's hearing of this conversation,
Right.
these types of conversations, there's more and more physical contraction in the body.
It can affect the body like that. There can
Like
be
it doesn't want to give
yeah,
up
exactly.
existing.
Yeah, it's absolutely. There can be a reaction which is not a feeling of relaxation. It can actually create more. It can feel. There can be
It feels like armor. Is what it feels like.
Sure, it can be that. There's no rules.
Yeah.
There's no rules to this.
So just
That's just what is.
there it is.
That's
Yeah.
just what is.
Mhm.
Yeah. It just seems to be that response is to hearing this.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's nothing to do about that. Not even sitting with it. I'm going to sit with my contraction.
I'm going to welcome my contraction.
I'm going to welcome
I'm going
it,
to
yeah.
love my
Love it, yeah,
contraction.
all of
I'm
this.
not going to make it wrong. I'm
All
going to
of-
just allow it.
Right. So all of that is
I know those. Yeah.
all of that is still the contraction of me contracting
Trying to do a
into
thing.
doing something about it.
Right.
It's the only thing that, as I said, one trick pony.
It really doesn't want to have nothing to do, really. Like,
Um,
it's almost like, no,
it
there has
doesn't-
to be some doing.
it's
It
not
can't be
e-
that easy.
It's not even that. It's a one trick pony.
That's all it can
All
do.
it is about, yeah.
It's one thing.
It's nature.
It's just what it does. Just do something else. Can't do anything else. It's just what it is.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I mean, probably no, but go ahead.
Yeah. I'll never be done.
So when you were talking,
Yeah.
and you were talking a lot, so I don't know what all you were saying.
Yeah. Sorry about
But that's okay. But again, coming back to it is.
that. Yes.
So like my experience was, the tears started, and so it's like unconditional love.
Yes, you can say unconditional love, but I mean, when people talk about love,
Unconditional love.
right? Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, yes, but unconditional love includes war, horror, trauma, all of that. As long as we're talking about the same thing, because a lot of the
Exactly.
time we're talking about something which is a bit fluffy.
But my story or my experience that I
Right.
can understand
Yeah.
in this moment is that when you said that, trauma will go on, that process is happening, or whatever. But that is that unconditional love that what I feel is the end of seeking.
Yeah,
So for me, that because everything else is there.
Yeah.
War is there, trauma is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Seeking is there.
right.
But that is where is the end of seeking.
Absolutely.
And that is unconditional love, the end of seeking.
Absolutely. I mean, what is it? What?
Or a fulfillment.
What?
I don't even know if it's a fulfillment.
So what is that in the me state, there is conditional love,
Mm-hmm. And
then-
that was my second question.
and then
because you're
and
talking
then there
about
is the end of seeking, and
Right.
all there's left is what is.
what is.
And what is unconditional.
So did you happen to shed a tear of some kind of realization? Like, wow,
Well,
Like-
yeah, it is. Wow. Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Like, wow. I mean, again, did you have an experience of like,
Well, I mean, when you say an experience, this is the end of experience.
was there anything like, or I know this is it, but because there was a
It is.
past David.
It was. Yes. Okay. So, the point being is that what you're talking about is the end of me,
right.
right? That you're talking about the moment that's the end of me, because that's what everybody wants to know.
Right.
What was that like?
Right.
And what I can express from that is that it was extremely imaginative and really, it was that it was really what's the word I'm trying to get? Yes, uneventful.
Ordinary.
Underwhelming.
Ordinary.
Underwhelming.
So do you remember the past David, but
Yes.
and then the David now?
There was a past, and then there was the end of past.
So
There's a
are you
belief
able
in-
to
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
differentiate
Yes.
between that?
There's a sense. There's a remembering in a
Right.
certain sense of that contraction and that sort of sense of seeking
Right.
all the time
Right.
in a very strong way for quite a long period of time.
Yeah. So I think like coming back to that unconditional love, or
Yeah.
that's what I'm naming it.
Yeah.
Is the end of seeking.
Yes. Yes,
And
it's the end of seeking.
And then my second question was when you talked about conditional love. you
Yeah.
were saying.
Yeah.
So when we are, let's say, seeking conditional love from another human being,
Yeah.
let's say relationships
Right.
or,
Right.
like, let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's seeking from that conditional love.
Yeah.
And when it's unfulfilled, because at
It's-
some point it's going to be unfulfilled.
It's always
It's always unfulfilled. So that the desire of that something to be filled, is it this actually what
it's
that we're seeking?
Yes, absolutely. What it is just it's just in the attempt to find
Right.
that in relationship.
Exactly.
So relationship is another one of those things
Right.
that you can go towards wherever you want to go towards. There's plenty out there.
But it's going to be unfulfilled.
Absolutely.
The suffering.
Yes, it is always.
There's good things,
So-
but then there's suffering.
So
too.
it's always unconditional. So it's
Conditional.
always it's always unrequited, should I say?
Mhm.
Always unrequited,
Mhm.
and it is always it is always doomed to failure. It is always doomed.
So that yearning inside
Yeah.
and the
It's
suffering
doomed.
and the pain, is it what I'm really seeking is this?
It's a yes, because because everybody knows
Yeah.
that actually seeking that way is always tragedy.
Right.
It's always tragedy.
Right.
Wonderfully tragic, because it's not what it is. What
Why
is
is it
sort of,
wonderful?
because the fact of the matter is that it's always no. That's not it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not what is. Or that's not what sought for, should I say?
But we still seek from the
Oh
other
yeah,
person.
yeah. They're still seeking. Yeah.
And there are
Until
happy
we
couples.
don't.
Oh sure.
Yeah, I mean, falling in love isn't always a tragedy.
Oh no. But that's not. But it isn't falling in love. It's just attraction.
So attraction's a tragedy.
Attraction is just it's attraction. It's attraction. Attraction seems to happen. There's attraction and there's repulsion. Sometimes attraction stays like that for a long time. Sometimes it doesn't. All of it, everything, all there is unconditional love. Whether it's attraction or repulsion, whether it's seeming separateness or seeming connectedness, is all unconditional love.
And you're saying the seeking is a tragedy. That's where it
The seeking
always,
is yes,
that's what
exactly. Yes,
always
sorry.
makes it
Yes, maybe that wasn't clear. The seeking
Is a
is tragic.
is the tragedy.
Yes, it's the tragic. It's always tragic.
Yes.
It's always going to,
Yes.
that's why Romeo and Juliet is considered to be a tragedy. It's about love, but there's a tragedy there. So it's a funny thing. It's not. I mean, that's always the nature of seeking.
Yes.
Everything that is sought by the me state, it always ends in tragedy. It's this thing of this metaphor that I like to use, which is that it's seeking, it's trying to find a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow when all there is gold.
Yes.
That's the best way of talking about it, I think.
And why do you think some people like you would this is it? I mean, or whatever those words are.
Yeah.
Let's say realize that, or that's the closest word I
I don't know. I don't
and
have an
us
answer.
sitting here, we haven't yet.
There isn't an answer to that. Like, why does it seem to why does there seem to be a falling away,
Yeah.
and why there doesn't seem to be a falling away?
Yeah.
And it's just what is. There isn't an answer to that.
Why is that?
This is unrequited.
Well, there seems to be seeking. When there seems to be seeking, there's all there is seeking, and when seeking is no longer there, then there's no longer seeking. I mean, how else to describe, to express that?
Say that at some level, there is no qualitative difference between you and me.
No,
If I'm the one seeking, you're the one not seeking.
no.
There is no difference. It's all there is anyway.
all there is.
It's all there is
Yeah,
anyway.
that's all there is.
So that's why there's not higher, low,
No,
better,
not
you know.
no.
So we're just hanging out.
Yeah, we're
and
just hanging
You
out.
stop seeking, and I might be seeking.
There's just seems to be a falling away, and that's it. But I mean, you know, that's the me state is as I talk about it as a state. It's not a real entity. There's no real entity called me. So it's a state of energy, and that state of energy has a fluctuation all the way through a day and in a night. And at night there's no me. So it's exactly the same. You know, there's no difference at all between this and this. It is just that there seems to be sometimes, there seems to be a sense of contraction there, which is irritating.
I think what's irritating is the seeking.
Yeah.
That's what's irritating.
Oh yeah,
for me,
sure.
Is the seeking.
It's the same. So the me is seeking. It's the same.
Yeah.
Seeking arises out of the contraction.
Is an object.
Did you say that they're still in this state and just no contraction?
No, there's no the word contraction. Contraction is the me for me. So when that falls away, there's nothing to form.
So
For me,
so there,
Well,
yes, I couldn't say in that body, but there. Is there any distinguishing night from that?
Oh well, yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, there's a sense of light and
well, no,
like-
sorry, not. I mean, in terms of
well, yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, you're saying that when
there's no sense of meaning in
no.
sleep. No. So there's no sense of meaning during the
Yeah, it's just the same in a way. It's just like a continuation of the same. The body doesn't need me to function. That's the point. It doesn't need me to function. There's no requirement for that sense of, seeking to be there. That sense of seeking can end, and the body just go in a way. It's kind of like a kind of act that's playing in the background that is completely superfluous to the function of something. You could say it's like that. It's just, it has no meaning. It just creates heat. Except tension. Yeah, it's like a resistor. It's a resistor in a circuit. I don't know. I mean, all these are metaphors, but
What about like conditioned patterns unwinding? Does that still happen? I mean, with outside of the me, are there any conditioned patterns or
yeah, I mean,
behavior things
this body can still have trauma, which trauma responses, like dogs. If you have a dog, it's been beaten when it's younger, it can still have if there's a trauma response. There's no me there, but there can be a response to that trauma. It's the same thing with this body.
Because there's a hippocampus that remembers something, right?
There's a movement there where there's a sense of memory that could be danger or whatever. There's a response, immediate response.
Survive.
Yeah. And it's locked into a thing. But so that all that can happen, that trauma response can happen. It doesn't need a me.
But it feels like there's still a sense of time with that kind of a response that you're talking about, even without the me, when you describe it.
Why? Why is there response? Why is there time?
So the response you're saying
Memory doesn't require time.
it does not. That's an interesting question. That's an interesting statement.
Memory can just go, oh, memory. Well, why is the time in that?
Memory does not require time.
Why?
It's a paradoxical Right. I mean, statement to me because the idea of memory involves time for the mirror, right?
Well, that's the thing, is that memory seems to, in the story, memory is about I am now in
Yes.
my past.
And I was then and
No, there's no past. It's just memory.
so memory could be part of all there is. And I mean, just in that all there is memory.
Yeah.
And
It's just memory for no one.
with no time and for
Yeah,
no
it's
one.
just a memory for no one.
Like everything else.
Yeah.
I see.
So here, a memory would do that.
It would be claimed, yeah.
What you were describing before.
Memory would be claimed. Yes.
Yeah,
Memory
like other
would be
tragic
Right.
events.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
they mean.
Yeah.
here.
Memory
Yeah, yeah.
claimed
Is that-
memory. Yeah.
Is that mechanism
Yeah.
throughout the day?
Yeah,
And
and
just being like
yeah.
getting triggered
Right.
and being like
and continuing a story
Yeah.
about my trauma
Um,
that's replayed every day. And that's a really interesting thing, that all of those situations of like, if you look at the world and what's going on in different parts of the world, there's lots of stories going on.
Mhm.
And every day, those stories are replayed. Every day, every moment, in a way, of every day, those stories have to constantly be replayed, because otherwise history doesn't exist. Quite interesting, that.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
It only exists if there is a me to make it into a story. So that me has to constantly verify its position. The contraction is constantly verified over and over again. This is my story. This is who I am. This is my story. This is who I am. This is my story. These are the, and now we've got computers to keep alive all of the stories that we have. We have to keep them on all the time. Because if they all turn off, then
what is that?
what's left? My God, yeah. It's a heavy duty process to keep me going. It's heavy.
But also what
Fire.
doesn't work is trying to be nothing. That's not going to work either.
No. Well, that's another story. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's another, yeah, absolutely. Trying it or
So you might as well
trying.
be in your story or not be in your story.
It's just what is.
I mean,
It's just what is. There's no choice.
till you're,
There's no choice. Yeah.
till
Because there's
you're-
no me.
This is it.
So there's no fake it till you make it. Don't reference
No.
yourself or ever stop
Who's
saying the
gonna
word
fake it?
I and me. There's none of that.
No,
None of that is
but
helpful.
who's going to fake it until you make it? Who's going to use the jargon? Who's going to do that? Only me is going to do that. Only me is going to latch onto those words and, and you use those words and set up sentences and paragraphs about how everything is apparent. Who cares? It doesn't matter what words you use. It doesn't matter. This isn't about words. This isn't about getting it right. This is about the end of seeking. As you said, this is just the end of seeking. All there is the end of seeking. There's just what is.
Can I ask a question, personal question?
Yeah, sure.
So is there like no attachment to photographs and things from the past? Is there any nostalgia for what
No.
was?
Not nostalgia. I mean, there's memory. There's memory of like I can suddenly have a memory of something that seems to happen, where I remember something, a memory attached to an emotion, if you like, a sense of something. Yeah, that can go on. Yeah.
What about like logistically? Are you like toting around boxes of shit with you still when you move? Do you have like you have baby photographs and
No.
shit? None of this matters, right?
No.
Because it's like, why? What? None of this is real.
No,
It's
nostalgia.
just weight, right?
Yeah, nostalgia. Forget it. No, there's no. It's because it does that. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
There's no interest in this body to engage with that. That's all. It's complete. I mean, it's like asking like asking a dog or a cat to, you know, remember when it was a kitten. It doesn't give a shit about it, it just wants food. It has absolutely no interest in that at all. What would it have any interest in talking about? I mean, not that it could ever talk, you know what I mean? But it's not anything to do with, I'm just giving you a.
I appreciate it. It just sounds so
Example.
lovely, so free. Yeah.
But
Bring in Roxy to come double check that.
but it's just what is. That body isn't interested in what went on. It's just interested in this. Everything else is being constantly rejected, actually.
So what kind of relationship do you have now with the world? With people, with things, with
Oh, there's attraction and repulsion,
there is attraction and repulsion.
as there always was. Just there is their attraction and repulsion there. There's just not a story that's made out of that attraction and repulsion. It's just attraction and repulsion for no one. It's just that.
Is there a sense that attraction and repulsion, or the nothing and the everything, that it's all not even conditional or unconditional love, but just love?
What? I mean, that is unconditional love. I mean, I don't. When you say it's just love, I mean, for me, I will just use.
Like, there's no right, there's no wrong, there's no black, there's no white.
I just use the word neutrality. All there is neutrality.
But in the neutrality,
Yeah.
in the not resisting of all that there is and everything, I guess it's a human construct
Nobody
to put a
does
word
that.
like love on
Yeah,
it.
I mean, nobody does that, by the way.
Right. It's
It's just the end of no. There's a profound absence.
so the word love doesn't even make sense
No.
really either.
No, of course not.
Because love would imply there's something to love.
There's something to love.
Or yeah, okay.
That's why I don't
Thank
like
you.
it. I mean, I mean, some people like it. That's
Yeah.
fine. I don't mind. If people can use, that word, whatever form of that, it's fine. But I don't, because it's so complicated, that word. You talk about love and people get into all kinds of things about what that means. That doesn't mean anything. Love doesn't mean anything. All there is just this. That's what is. It's just this. Floor, cushions, bodies. It's just bodies.
So why does that which is invisible appear? I know that's a weird.
Why does that which is invisible appear?
Like, and it's looking for real. One could be here. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, seeing chair,
Yeah,
people, bodies.
yeah.
And seeing the picture from the newspaper that you saw at 9 a.m. this morning of the nuclear bunker in Iran. So that is it's not really visible in the same way as everything else, but it can appear.
I mean, what can you?
It's just a thought. It's a thought.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the thought appears, but it's not. I mean, you were describing. There's just what is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just newspapers, cuttings, or pictures just appearing.
Yeah, and then thoughts just appear.
There's thoughts and thought. There's just thoughts. Yeah.
Because it's almost like that's the Pandora's box. It's like that if something arises in the body and is taken for real, it's just.
Well, I mean, the base of thinking, the base of the me's sense that things are real is that I am real. That's the origin of it. There is a sense that I am separate from something else. So therefore I am here, something else is over there. There's a subject, there's an object. That's the illusion. And then that can just fall away. And then there isn't a subject and an object, there's just what is. So the realness of things is only because there's a subject and an object. When there's no subject, no object, there is no sense that there is real or unreal. They are both conceptual ideas which have got no interest to what this is. There's no interest. It's irrelevant. All of those ideas about real, unreal, nothing, everything, it's just a complete irrelevance because this cannot be spoken of. This cannot be talked about. This is just what is.
An image of a newspaper clipping is a
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, sure.
Talked about this I am, the I am.
Yeah.
I mean, first the I am arises and then the world, right? But first the I am arises. The contraction.
Yeah, that's
the I
sense of
am.
separateness. Yeah.
For me, I am contraction.
Totally.
So teachers like Nisargadatta and Ramana used to advise, right? Like let the world be the world.
Sure.
And stay with the I am. Stay stay at that door of the I am. Right. And from where does this I am arise? Like just stay there.
Just stay there, yeah. That's a teaching.
It's a teaching.
Yeah.
But the idea is, right, that as you stay at the door of the I am, something else will open.
Yeah, well, you can try that. And then when it doesn't work, you can try something else.
Right. Have you tried that?
I tried a lot of things, And so self-inquiry, yes, I tried self-inquiry, different forms of self-inquiry methods.
Yes.
But of course, self-inquiry is based on self-inquiry.
Absolutely.
So
it's more of the same.
It's born
back to the pony trick.
One should play.
My experience of that is that because you said you can try that and then see what happens, right? So my experience of that is back to the frustration.
Yeah, well, of course,
And after the frustration, then there is the desperation.
Yeah.
Right? Because like if this, which was supposed to be the high road, right? And if this, and some people have this experience with gurus, and some people have it with self-inquiry. So if this is not it, and this is not it, and this is not it, then that desperation.
Then what is it, and what can I do about it?
Well, but there is a sense of desperation, a sense of what the fuck is going on, like what on earth, like everything is collapsing. Like if that's it's like it feels like I can't grasp onto anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. That it's a frustration saying that I can't do anything about this.
I can't do anything about anything. Can't do anything about anything.
Absolutely. This is.
And then there's like I want to scream until it covers the whole universe.
Do it. I mean, scream and as much as you want. This is the tantrum of the 3-year-old. Honestly, it's the same energy. It's the tantrum of the 3-year-old that feels that separation for the first time.
Yes.
That's it. That's the same energy. I mean, tantrums are just tantrums. It's a fever. What are you going to do about it?
Let it burn.
We tried the 5-MeO DMT.
You tried?
We tried the 5-MeO DMT.
Okay, DMT.
A couple of us, we tried the 5-MeO DMT, and it was similar to like this screaming that I'm telling you about, like.
Sure.
Like this contraction, and then there was this tremendous screaming, and then there was nothing else. There was just like vibration. I mean, that was my experience. Other people have bliss, whatever. And for me, it was just vibration, right? But then the before.
Yes. Yes. Of course. Yes, of course. That's
When there was all just vibration, there was no me.
no.
But then the new me showed up.
Sure.
And I was relieved.
It's a glimpse. Yeah.
I was relieved.
Oh,
when it
of
showed up.
course. Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah. But,
At some level.
I mean, yeah. I don't. Yeah. Okay.
Well, although it felt like pain when the meat showed up again, it did feel like tremendous pain.
Sure. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the me
Yeah.
to drop away,
Yeah.
can that happen irrespective of whether I'm going to meetings, non-duality
Oh, yeah.
meetings?
Yeah, of course.
You
there's
know.
no, there's nothing to find here. There's nothing. This is not, and some sort of energetic force field
Exactly.
where you're going to fall away.
Exactly.
No.
So it can
Is it because
happen.
how could it be? I mean,
So-
what would be generating that? It's certainly not this.
So
This is basically like talking to a chair. There's no. You could just have a chair here.
right.
You know, instead of somebody coming from the thousands of miles from here. Next time you should just have a chair.
I'll remember
Chair.
that. Yeah.
Empty chair.
Empty chair meeting.
It doesn't. It's about the same that you're going to get. Yes, good. It's the same you're going to get. You know,
Right.
it's not going to provide you with something more.
Oh, so that
Yeah.
me falling away can irrespectively happen.
Absolutely, of course. This is
Whenever.
otherwise this would be satsang, right?
Right.
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 This isn't satsang.
This isn't satsang.
Right.
Yeah. What is this?
This is just
What
this is just an expression of just a completely empty expression. It's just saying all there is this. I mean, that is shocking, isn't it? That because when you realise what actually is being expressed, it's absolutely ridiculous.
How are you stating the obvious?
I am just stating the obvious. Yeah, absolutely. This is just absolutely obvious. Yeah. No, that's right. This is obvious. An obviousness that is constantly missed. Because me is trying to find something all the time. Trying to find, oh, where is it? Is it? Hold on. No. Yeah.
And yet there is
Tony used to do this.
David, there is like
It's brilliant. Yeah.
there is
So
there's
yeah.
something that feels really good. It's like say it again, say it again, say it again. Just
Yeah.
say it over. What is that about? It's like tell me again. And
Yeah.
I feel like a child, you know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so say it again.
Yeah.
And say it again.
Yeah. I
And
know.
again
I
and
know.
again.
I know. God,
And
I
then
know
again
that.
and
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Sure.
Like I want to hear it again.
Because
and again.
somehow there is because
What is it?
what's being talked about here is absolutely known there.
That's
Not known in the same way as knowing, but known. This knows absolutely what is being expressed. It totally knows what is being expressed, and so there is
resonance. There's
the
a
resonance, yeah.
and the joy of recognition.
There's a sort of resonance. There's a resonance there, and a sort of feeling of can be a feeling of don't need to try.
But it's
Don't need
more,
to get
it's
anywhere,
more than that.
you
It's
know.
almost like that childlike.
Yeah, and it's
It's like
can
that
be quite
childlike, like, oh,
yeah.
oh,
Oh yeah.
oh.
Sure.
Say it again.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they're just like
So,
children
yeah.
playing. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
okay, say it
Yeah.
again.
It can be like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can be. For other people, it's this is horrible. But it depends on. It can be a real. Depends on the person. It depends on that. What's there.
There is a song that I really like. It's from the Phantom of Opera.
Yeah.
And I only now understand like why do I like the song? And there's a line in there, right?
Yeah.
It says, "Say you love me every single moment."
Yeah.
Right? And so
Yeah.
in a way, when I hear you say, "This is all there is. This is all there is.
Yes.
This is all there
It's
is.
the
It's
same.
like
Yeah.
you're saying they love
Yes,
me
yes,
every single
yes.
moment.
Well, or what is being expressed is that all there is
This.
love.
All
if you
there
like.
is love.
All there
this
is what is.
Yes.
You know.
But the first time I'm understanding, like, why am I so attracted to that line? Right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and
yeah.
as I hear you keep saying
Yeah.
that this is
Yeah.
all there is,
Yeah.
you know, it
Yeah.
feels the same energy.
Yeah.
And you thought it was gonna come from a boy.
No boys.
There's a boy sitting there.
No, there's a chair.
It's coming from the chair.
Yeah. It's a good chair. Say that again. The contents of things.
Yeah, yeah, it's just sort of a whole scientific drive to figure out what everything is.
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
I mean, what a flower is,
Yeah.
what's inside of it.
Okay. I see. Yes, yes. Yeah, it's always looking inside things, yeah, because it's trying to find something. So it's either looking inside things or it's looking very, very far. So going into space.
Yeah.
It's actually the same.
It's like trying to make meaning. That's what I noticed. Like everything has to have some meaning
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the
The
serendipity.
synchronicities.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
synchronicity and it like all that. It's like so
Yeah.
just enamored. With all, I can't
Like, it feels
not
like something's
try and-
meant to be and like meant to happen. Like, oh wow, like this thing happened and I met this person and then like they knew about it too.
Yeah.
It just feels like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
like there's some
Yeah.
sort of a
Yeah.
deeper, I don't know, like direction to the story.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh yeah. No, that's right. I mean, it's always
Then-
trying to find some meaning and purpose.
I would
Me is
imagine,
always trying to do that.
Like the mealess person probably wouldn't care about that, right?
Well, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. It's not. I mean, there can still be talking about that or thinking about that or whatever it is. We're
it's not
talking to
important
people about
or-
it, but it's just seen as being a story, which is going, which is all about trying to find something.
Mhm.
All stories, right?
Right.
All
right.
stories are the same. You notice that, like, if you go to cinema, it's always the same film.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it? You know what I mean?
There's always
There's always a kind of very similar film going on, no matter what the film is. It's
there's
actually
some
the
sort of
same.
problem. They have like to overcome the
Overcome the
problem.
problem.
And then there's like the ending, which may be happy or not happy with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
What it does, it condenses time too, which is weird. Because I mean, if you're in a movie theater watching a movie,
Yeah.
you're going to watch, you're gonna be immersed in a different world,
Yeah.
with its own sort of different timeline. So within
Yeah.
2 hours, you could have been taken on a journey of, several years.
Sure.
It's a very strange
Yeah. It is.
thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Like, what the hell was that?
Sure.
But yeah, especially in a movie theater.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
easy to get that,
Yeah.
But
Well, it's a story that you sort of get lost in, isn't it?
you don't have to do anything, so you can just sort of let. It's just over. I guess it's just sensory over.
Yeah.
It just gives the senses everything in it. It just sits back.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a word distraction from the normal seeking. In a certain sense, it's kind of like let him see the screen.
Yeah.
I'll watch him seek. I don't need
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take the load off.
Projection.
Take the load off. They can seek, and I can just respond to that.
But what's the difference between just taking care of the things in life, and seeking?
Well, taking care of the things in life can be done, and there's no me involved. They can just be taking care of things like attraction, repulsion, movement towards things that are pleasurable, away from things that are painful. That's the fundamental movement. If you like.
No awareness that it's happening.
No, you don't need awareness. No, awareness is just it's like a fly on the wall documentary. Like, oh, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need that. They can just be what is without there being a fly on the wall documentary all the time.
So do you feel strange when somebody says, "What's your name?"
No.
What would you? Do you feel?
But yeah.
I mean, maybe strange is not the word, but do you feel okay? It's when you introduce yourself as David.
Yeah. Do I have what? Well, no. I mean, it's just a convention. It's a social convention. It's something that this body knows. I've learned that social convention in a way, the same way, again, you know, referring back to the dog situation. Dogs know their name.
Yeah.
They know that when they're called, something seems to happen.
I like what the parents would want.
Yeah. Yes, it's something seems to happen like a dog, you know, oh, go run towards the owner.
Yeah.
So it remembers that energy. And that's actually what humans are doing all the time. Humans are doing that just on a really sophisticated level. They're constantly kind of being, you know, certain words mean certain, have got certain energy, mean certain, you know, just have that energy that responds to certain things.
And that drops them.
Well, no, that's there. That's there. But there's a kind of knowledge here about what this name, the name David means to people. They're referring to this, something to do with this. But I don't know what that is. Nor do they, of course. They don't know what that is either. Nobody knows. Nothing knows what's going on. Nothing knows what's going on.
I always thought that was
But
the
it
problem.
thinks it does. But
Yeah, it thinks it does, yeah. But nothing knows what the fuck is happening. Yeah.
Nothing knows what's happening.
Nothing knows what's going on. There isn't anything that knows what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So is it the difference between
Yeah, so
the there could be a sense that there's something going on,
right
there,
yeah,
right?
okay,
That there are just this interaction right now between you and I.
right.
Nothing's happening.
No. No, nothing's happening.
But the sense that there could be something happening would be the sense of that there's a source, that I'm here, you know that?
Yeah, that's
Right.
dualism. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a body. Like if I have a sense that there's a person there in the body,
Right.
it's almost like there's a holographic body on top of the physical body. Well, I don't know if that, not literally, but you know,
Okay.
we're pretty fascinated as humans with ghosts.
Right.
You know, I
Yeah.
have a
The ghost,
hunch that the ghosts,
the ghost in the machine.
yeah, but I guess there would be a kind of a sense that there are two things going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
That there's actually a body,
Yeah.
that there's actually somebody talking inside
Sure.
of it.
Yeah.
And that must be a big difference between how you experience this body.
Well, the thing is,
Or not
that there's an
experience, but-
analysis going on with the me. It's trying to figure something out. It's trying to work out what's going on. Is this subject, object?
Right.
Is this?
Yeah.
How is that go? And here it's just there's nothing going on. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
profound stupidity.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like. Yeah, this is profoundly stupid. Yeah, I mean profound. But it's not. It is a complete that in a certain sense. All of that, and this is not an attack. You know, it's not an attack. All of that is completely irrelevant.
All of
What you just said.
yeah.
It's not. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that from this, that whole notion about subject, objects, what is this, what is that, working out, figuring out is all in the me's contraction. It's still the, one trick pony contraction of me going through a huge mechanism in order to figure something out so that it can work out how to resolve me.
Yes.
It's a big
Roundabout.
conundrum that it's trying to work out. As always, whatever it's doing is trying to work that out. How do I breach separation? How do I get out of here? How do I fix this? That is what seeking is all about. And it doesn't matter what the question is, it will always be about that somehow. And what's going on here, of course, is that there isn't any need to engage in that at all. So this is just sort of like, okay, well, okay. That's what's going on there. There's an attempt to try to find what this is, but all this is just what is. There's just this. Yeah. So it's kind of almost a complete cross purposes in a way. But I mean, not that this is a purpose, but there's a purpose there, and then there's absence of purpose in this. This has got no purpose. Whereas that's got a purpose. That's trying to find something out.
Are you making the world a better place by
No.
educating people about
No, there is no world for a start, and there's no possibility of there being a better world. That's absolutely ridiculous.
But we all just have to do things.
I mean, well, things seem to happen. Yeah.
So this meeting seems to happen,
Yeah.
but it wasn't as a result of you making it happen,
No.
or wishing it to happen, or planning it to happen.
No, it just seems
Just-
to like
It
this.
just happened.
It's just magnetism. Magnetic.
So how come, I mean, I don't know if I'm seeing this erroneously or not, but how come a lot of people that have any kind of a dropping away
Yeah.
of the me
Yeah.
seem to, even though you're saying there's no path, truth is a pathless path, and but they're sitting on a chair, like from Tony
Yeah.
to Ramana, and they've certainly found something, or
I mean, those are different things. Romana and Tony are quite different.
but they're sitting in front of an audience.
They seem to be, well, it looks, there can be a similar look to it, perhaps.
It's not just going to work, working at the supermarket, coming
Oh, I
back,
see.
and they
Well,
seem
no,
to
but
be
that's
seem to be distributed.
yes, but that's because there are certain people who are communicators. There's been a sort of, in a certain sense, this body has always been trying to communicate in various different ways throughout the life of this body. It is a communicator in a certain way. And there's, Tony and various different people seem to be also, communicating this, some more efficiently than others, and more effectively, but it's still a communication. And that's just what seems to go on with that sort of body. But there are other bodies where this completely falls away and they just carry on doing whatever it is that they were doing, working for Apple. Generally, that does continue if it's something that body enjoys. If that body hates doing that, then, and that falls away, it's not going to carry on doing, it's just not going to carry on doing that. I mean, if you, speak to Tim about this, Tim Bliss,
Yes.
he came to a war, he couldn't do it, that just completely fell away.
Yes.
So there's no, this body will always naturally go to what is pleasurable for this body. And in a certain way, the group of people that are around this, not very many people that are around this, talking about this, are communicators of a certain type. They are communicators. And there are lots and lots and lots and much more people that are outside of those communicators that aren't communicating this, but are still just living, going towards what is naturally what they do or how they are, without there needing to be this kind of communication. It doesn't need to be coming out like this. This just seems to happen for certain individuals. apparently.
Although I feel like I've seen it oftentimes in people, almost like there is a need to scream from the top of the roof about it.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a phase of it, of this process, like in teachers, I've seen this, like there is a phase almost in which like they want to say this to everything, everywhere, at all times.
Yeah, there could be a phase. It's possible that there could be, certain people that want to express this and then they stop. That's also possible. There's no rules.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Everything is about.
Yes, exactly. Everything. Well, everything already is what it is. So
there's no allowance.
There's nobody to allow anything, which is even more free in a way.
Yes.
Nobody that's actually,
controlling,
punching the cards. It's like so. Yeah.
Nobody came here. Nobody is here.
Right. Yeah. There's a few people that think that. That's but there is no one.
Right, but that can't be known.
That can't be known, absolutely. And in a way, talking about it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating part. It's like, oh, man,
no, it can't be known, and in a way, there's sort of no point talking about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, there's nobody here. Who gives a shit? What that it doesn't mean anything to anybody. That whole thing, it doesn't matter. Nobody. No, there is no one. Right, but me doesn't find that comforting at all, or of any use at all.
This body, I mean, it's dealt with a lot of fear all of its life, but it's particularly feared right now because there's a lot of energy that into the surgery.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's investments.
Yeah, it was like I have to figure out what to do with my time.
Sure.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do. Luckily, you don't have to figure that out because but that body just knows exactly what to do with its time. I mean, of course, time doesn't exist, but I mean, but that body knows exactly what it wants to do. It's either going to be resting or moving or eating. There's a range of things that body knows. Doesn't need anyone to do anything at all. It just does what it does naturally. The body's constantly moving towards pleasure and going away from pain. That's it.
This reminds me of a story. Like it's just a story, but of Krishna and Narada. So there's a story which I read as a teenager in some comic book.
Okay.
Where Krishna is with Narada, and they go on like a journey, like a walk, let's say in the forest, or the desert. And all of a sudden, Krishna goes, "I'm really thirsty."
Yeah.
So Narada, can you get me some water? So Narada goes looking for water, but then he comes across this kingdom, and he goes, "Oh, this is a beautiful kingdom. Oh, it's so, colorful here." And then he, goes there and he meets the king, and the king goes like, "Oh, I'll give you a position in my court, And then he meets the king's daughter and he falls in love with her and he marries her, and then they have kids. And then long story short, there's like a storm and there's a flood and his wife dies. Yeah. The kids die. The kingdom it's vanished. And then Narada remembers Krishna and he goes, "Krishna." And then he hears Krishna's voice, "I'm thirsty." And he where's my water? And he goes back to Krishna and he goes, "My wife died. My kids have died. I've lost everything." And Krishna goes, "That was just an illusion. It was an illusion, a dream. It was, in a way, an illusion. Yeah, it wasn't real." So what I hear you say, my logical
Yeah.
My logical mind hears you say, this is an illusion. It's not real.
Well, I mean, me is an illusion.
So everything, like, nobody's here.
There is no one.
So it's a dream.
There is the me is a fantasy. The idea that there's an entity called me is a fantasy.
It's a fantasy. So there's no body. So
there's nobody in there.
Right. And then the other thing is when it came to me was like, you know, we have like our trauma and, you know, the story of all that. And then we're seeking the answer or seeking the no seeking.
Yeah.
We're doing that as well. And we, you know, life is going by and that's happening. And then if you get diagnosed with something and you just have 6 months to live, all that falls away. Even the seeking falls away. All that falls away. And then you just have 6 months to live. So it doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters.
Nothing matters. Yeah.
So is it like when you're close to death on your deathbed, that everything falls away?
This is death.
This is death.
This is death.
Yeah.
And this is life, death. As one, life, death.
Yeah. It's like when you're close to death, or if you know, it's like everything else falls away.
Yeah. But all there is that. What you're talking about, all there is immediacy. There's just immediacy.
Immediacy meaning?
Immediacy has no meaning. It's just immediacy.
Just another way of saying like things are happening without it. It's like it's
in the way of saying
already happened.
It's already what is. Yeah. And there isn't any time, of course. So, you know, when illusion, what you're talking about, is a story in time. Which perhaps is, you know, what that part of that story is pointing out. Who knows? I mean, as you know, there's a lot of stories told in those terms, which are, you know, dualistic fantasies. But as far as this is concerned, that the time is, you know, what, you know, the idea that there's a beginning, a middle, and end, you know, all of that is just fantasy. It's just what is.
David, there is a movie called The Life of Chuck. Have you heard of it? The Life of Chuck.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I think it's a very, very talking a lot of what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This collapse of time and the collapse of the being and The Life of Chuck. It's a new one.
Okay. Oh, a new one. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So you were saying that the body seeks pleasure and avoids pain.
Yeah.
And and I'm just sitting with that as far as when I'm identified as body seeking pleasure, then it's like the me or self gets involved in that same type of thing.
Yeah,
and
that's
puts a different spin on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So hedonism is when me tries to take hold of pleasure. Right? So that's something else. That's something like it actually pushes pleasure to a limit, where it actually goes into pain.
And I guess probably as well abstinence on the opposite side.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing, yeah. But it's also going into pain. You know, it's trying to take control of that natural mechanism, that instinctive mechanism, which is pleasure, goes just natural pleasure, natural pain. It just does that. But then, you know, hedonism will, you know, latch onto it and say, right, I'm going to have, you know, do all of this because I'm going to force me into, you know, I'm going to force the me out of me. Yeah. It tries to take control of that, you know, so that's what happens in lots of different areas, like, you know, Tantra is trying to do that a lot. Psychedelics, you know, a lot of things where there's these sort of heightened drugs, taking drugs. A lot of things that are associated with trying to force something to me is involved.
So in the falling away of the me, like when people are asking questions about what it's like, and there's a relaxing into a complete, my understanding is it sounds like it's a complete and utter relaxing into no doing, no understanding, just.
Well, it's you're creating a fantasy about this, about what you imagine.
Sure. Yes, that's
sure.
what it. That's
what
just what it does.
That's
yeah.
what it does. Yeah.
So this is a question about the experience over there.
Yeah.
His parent, David.
This doesn't have experience. That's the difference, actually. Is that before this had experience, this is my experience, and now there's no experiencer.
Sure.
So there's just what is.
So I was going to ask a question about like there isn't a need or a desire to want to understand or even grok what is happening, but that isn't even
really.
Can't happen.
No. It just sees a lot of those kind of questions and kind of things as kind of as irrelevant. Sorry to use that word. It does seem to consider a lot of those kind of questions and ideology, which I've previously thought was very important.
So it's just a complete and utter waste of time to even entertain the thought that might arise. But
it is. I mean,
but those thoughts do not even arise.
No, they don't arise.
Right.
They don't arise. Into the questioner. They don't. There's no.
But do they arise? Is there a noticing of that thought arising? No.
They don't arise. Honestly, I mean, that's the interesting thing about this is that there's no arising of that question anymore. Just doesn't. It's blown out of the water by what is. What is so much more. Well, it's fulfilling. It's so much more fulfilling than trying to kind of figure out everything in a way. That it displaces me. The meing. It's being displaced by everything.
Obliterated.
It's a way of describing it.
Thank you for trying.
Yeah.
For a lot of means, that's how they get their fulfillment, figuring out things.
Yeah, well, fulfillment, they never really find fulfillment. What they find is a resting place for a short period of time, and then it's on to the next question.
Well, it could be a lifelong. But, I mean, figuring out things like, figuring if you're interested in your job and interest is in astrophysics.
Yeah.
Figuring out, some
Sure. Oh yeah, well it could
right.
no,
that
could carry on.
Yeah.
No, that could carry on. That may be, if there is a genuine pleasurable interest in that, then that could carry on.
Yeah.
But interestingly, the ambition to try to find something in that nebula might fall away, and then it becomes a different thing. But yes, I agree with you that that kind of thing can carry on. There can be a natural kind of a person's natural strategic mental function can be very active. That is, in a certain sense, has been there for, in the story for thousands of years. It's about a sort of strategic understanding of things. Yeah.
Can you talk a little more about awareness, right? Because there's in the there's a lot of emphasis put on like the silent witness that doesn't have preferences, right? And so
self-inquiry is all about being aware.
Sure. So it sounded like there's even a negation of that.
Well, there doesn't need it's for there to be somebody that, you know, aware of something. There's one, something aware of something else. Two, dualism. So it's dualism. So there's always two-ness in awareness, the observer and the observed. So awareness is completely superfluous. And in fact, in a certain sense, what you could say is it reinforces the idea that there is two. I mean, reinforcement doesn't matter anyway. If me's gonna fall away, it's gonna fall away. So you can reinforce it to this, to you know, to whatever you like. Doesn't matter, because if me's gonna fall away, it's gonna fall away. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing that anybody can do about any of this. So reinforcing doesn't matter, but the point is that it is that. Yeah.
But the awareness isn't.
Awareness isn't important. No.
But there isn't, not in the experience of looking at what is observing, trying to look at the thing that's observing from an awareness perspective.
Well, I mean, then you're looking at the thing that's observing. 1, 2. It's like the me kind of
that's the whole
chasing
point
its
of the
tail.
exercise, is it can't be looked at, which leaves me in this place of like, well, then there's not two.
Well, I mean,
there's no way to look at the awareness.
That's the idea of self-inquiry. That's the sort of formula of self-inquiry. If you look long enough at the situation of there being a seeming two-ness, then that seeming two-ness will fall away, and all that will be left is oneness. It's a formula. It's getting somewhere. It's on a track to enlightenment.
So it's the long cut.
So it's
instead of the shortcut.
So it's an attempt to find everything, and nothing, and that can't be. That is just not. That's just impossible. You can't creep up on everything. It's an attempt to creep up on everything.
It took a minute for that, but okay, I got it. I got it.
Yeah, that's it.
There's just a strong tendency here to provoke a glimpse.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Energetically,
sure.
Which is
also
attached to, but to kind of know what that would
be.
At the same time. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, it's to try to to try to see your own death. Yeah,
because when you just mentioned what was the phrase? You're trying to catch up to it, or
yeah, you can't creep up.
On it. Yeah. I mean, that's right. I mean, that can provoke a glimpse because it's immediacy.
You can try to provoke a glimpse, but you never will.
A glimpse happens.
A glimpse can seem to happen, but only when there is no. A glimpse is a falling away of me.
Yeah.
So there's no one in a glimpse. A glimpse just is like me, just falls away. It's it was caught unawares. There's something it's a totally caught unawares, and that's a glimpse when it's least expected.
As somebody who studied Western philosophy, it occurs to me that Plato was Socrates' like prize student.
Well, we think so, or actually potentially, so Plato didn't understand Socrates at all.
Exactly, that's my point.
Yeah.
So, but if we look at Socratic ignorance, though, it seems to me that you would be, Socrates is perfect,
Well, yeah, I mean,
because all knowing, basically is kind of fallen away in terms of existential knowing.
Yes.
And, when he says to know as little,
it's like
who
a
knows?
child.
Yeah.
But I mean, Christ said the same thing.
Yeah.
Be, this phrase, be as little children. If you're not as children, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven. This phrase, this.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing.
Right.
It's, the rich man can't, enter because the richness is this me, it's a me state. Yeah. It's bagged down with knowing and time.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
The heavy sense or burden of time.
Yeah.
The mechanism of regret, looking back.
Yeah, sure.
Regret,
That kind of habit.
like that.
It's heavy. So me is heavy. It's, I mean, and this, certainly the me here was heavy. This was very heavy.
Yeah. From a young age, there was a sense that God was watching me.
Okay. Yeah.
And not necessarily, being a cheerleader at this time.
No, sure. Well, no, but I mean, we're taught that God is quite vicious.
Yeah, particularly so when they're little helpers.
Yeah, well, I mean,
vicious too.
I mean,
in a very concrete way.
Yeah,
that God can't be.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, because God is created in man's image. Man's, or should I say, man created God. Not God created man's. It's a different. So of course, it's going to be a me like God.
Yeah.
It's God. It's the big me in the sky. There's a big me in the sky called, which is Big Brother.
So is there something like, sorry.
Yeah.
Is there something like alignment, like the universe and being aligned with? So there's a few things here. One is, like when you have trauma and there is no me, like when you're growing up, you're not given the me, the validation to the me. And then as you grow and you work on yourself or you heal, then you validate the me and, whatever that journey is. And then you kind of realize, oh, okay, it's not really the me anymore. It's the death or it's whatever, But is there something alignment with the universe?
I mean, all of this is stories. Alignment with the universe is a kind of story which is like about if I align with the universe, then everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be better, and I'm going to get what I want ultimately.
I don't exactly mean it that way.
Well, how?
Well, I mean, it could alignment means whether it's death or whether it's acceptance. Or
why is that? I mean, there must be some reason for trying to get alignment. What is good about alignment?
Alignment means no resistance.
Okay, so but it's a desire for no resistance.
It's a desire for no resistance.
Which is a desire for? Because if you don't just not want resistance, what do you want?
Because I was listening to the God part of it. So I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. I feel like the universe, like how, okay, so I guess the trees, the beautiful trees, with pets, nothing is real, but then it's a expression of love.
Yeah, but this is turning love into something else now. This is turning it into a fluffy kind of love. This is a conditional love.
Maybe I just need to say something simple, and maybe I'm just going around and.
Well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying about alignment, meaning being aligned with the universe to not resist.
Yeah.
Whatever is, or whatever comes up.
Right. But I mean, that seems like a virtue. It seems to be like a virtuous thing that somebody can do. And the thing is that what this is expressing is that there is no possibility of there being anybody that can do any of what you've just said, of aligning, of not being resistant. There's no choice. There's no me to make that choice. There's just what is.
So you dissolve.
Well,
it dissolves.
Yeah, me seems to fall apart. Yeah, can do. But not because of anything that is not because of any efforting or drive that me has to do any of that, to become in alignment or to become less resistant.
So there's no alignment. Any thought of alignment with the universe or anything that just falls away.
Of course, yeah, because all of that is all about becoming. You know, because if what for what you're saying, you know, somebody that is less resistant and, you know, more open, let's say, is better.
It's not that it's better; it's that there's no suffering.
Right, but is that, you know, the idea there would be that suffering it's still
there's still a me that's suffering.
There's still, I mean, you can say that suffering it's not good, it's the end of suffering, but actually it's still desired, it's still gone towards, I want the end of suffering, I want to stop my suffering. No. Well, right.
No. You can't get there from here.
You won't.
From me.
Me is doing all of that's me efforting, me trying. It's still the same loop. It's the same loop.
Same pony.
Same pony.
Different day, same pony.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm having some memories of being involved with this spiritual organization where there was so much put on becoming and efforting.
Yeah.
And it's so much efforting. It's all about becoming. But
I had that when I, you know, earlier in life with various teachers that were, you know, full on efforting at becoming nothing.
Oh, okay, but now mine wasn't even that.
Oh, it's amazing. It was really incredible. The kind of divisive ideology of me, how that, you know, how, you know, I can be, you know, more nothing than you. You know, that amazing.
Wow.
Amazing, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to want it more than you want breath itself.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You have to want it. If you don't have that fire burning inside to get to the thing, you're never going to get there. You're never going to be a real tiger or a real dragon or a real warrior or whatever.
And you have to tithe and do service.
Oh yeah. And basically what is to that is just completely neutral. That just dies. All of that just falls completely away. All of that efforting ideology, good, bad, you're like this, I'm like that, hierarchical stuff, it falls absolutely flat. I will raise up the valleys and lower the mountains. Yeah, you know that? Yeah, it's this, flat. It's,
Did Jesus say that?
yeah, it's one of his, well, we think.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
But
yes.
I love that one. It's brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. There's a few ones. Tony has over the years has mentioned these things, and I've thought, wow, that's, I didn't know them before he spoke. He said those, but I love those. But certain ones that he picks out. Yeah, it's great.
Can you riff on
That's
it a
not
bit?
true.
Just riff on it a little bit.
Sorry,
Just can you riff a bit on it?
riff or
Riff.
bit.
Speak about it
on-
more.
speak- well, I mean, it's difficult to. I mean, it's just basically pointing out that there's that all forms of hierarchical positioning is just absolutely nonsense. I
That
mean,
can't be taken as a truth, though.
what do you mean?
I mean that because there's no certainty.
What do you mean? There's no certainty. There's not. All of that is.
Yeah, neutrality.
Well, neutrality is all there is.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not something obviously,
No.
right. I mean, which is I guess what we've been talking
No,
about.
no, you exactly.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
you can't get. This,
I guess yeah, when you say like raise the what was it? Lower the mountains, raise the
Yeah. It's just a metaphor.
yeah, it's like okay, oh, so that's the oh, that's what we need to do.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, of course.
But it's just pointing out, in a certain sense, that there is no possibility of better or worse. You want to put it like that. How could you possibly say that a person or something is better or worse? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, in this circle, it'd be a preference then. And
Yeah, sure.
And so you're right. Is that just semantics or not?
Well, I mean, better or worse is a very clear.
It's a judgment.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
a judgment there.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas a preference is easy. I'm gonna do it this
Well,
way.
that's just a attraction or repulsion.
Oh, yeah. So you could
Test
prefer
plugged in.
strawberry ice cream
Yeah,
versus chocolate ice
Sure.
cream. That's attraction, repulsion, preference.
yeah.
But strawberry
Well,
ice cream is
test.
so much better than chocolate ice cream. Then,
Well, it's not. There's not an inherent
Yes,
betterness.
yes,
That's the
yes.
point. It's about betterness.
Yes.
It's about getting somewhere. It's about being better.
Yeah.
It's about getting better. It's about achievement. It's about goals. It's about all of those things, and all of that falls dead. There is no tree or bird or cat or dog that is trying to get anywhere.
Or
Just
just
what-
be, or just be.
Just be is also an attempt to get somewhere. I'm just going to be now.
Or
The
or just be.
other side.
If not like this, then
Not trying to be.
But
just
that's still that. I mean, doing that. Okay, I'm just going to be now. Do you know what I mean? It's a kind of ridiculous notion of we're trying to relax.
Mhm.
uh-huh.
Mhm.
Well, the thing is, because I'm not there where this is it, or whatever that thing is. I'm not there. The dropping hasn't happened. The dropping away hasn't happened. So every day, align with the universe, meaning meditation. And I always had an issue with there being so many spiritual teachers, but it was always like I couldn't put anybody on a pedestal.
No.
So it just I wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
So it just fell away. So that just stopped. But meditating is, like I do theta healing. Like, I don't know if you've heard of theta healing.
Mhm.
So for me, theta healing every day, like, I do that on myself or, my cat or whatever.
Right.
So for me, that is it calms my system,
Great.
my body, all that helps. So for me, that is like being aligned with that. It just calms the system and the nervous system.
Well, there's nothing wrong with any of it.
Exactly. So because yes, if I had that where everything fell away, then nothing would matter. Theta healing wind,
You don't know, but you don't know whether. I mean, that's the fantasy that is there about what will be when there is no me. But what there might, all of that might just carry on exactly as it is.
Okay.
Or not.
Or not.
Okay. There's no idea there's no possible idea about what it is.
But that's all I know right now.
Sure. Well, that's what seems to be happening. Yeah.
That's what seems to be happening.
Yeah. This is the point, is that there's nothing right or wrong with any of it. There's no way or not way.
Yeah.
If you did that, it wouldn't make you better or worse. It's something that goes on there, perhaps because there's something pleasurable in it.
It almost brings to mind for me, like a children's book, like When There's No Me, and then list all these different imaginations about what this is created, about what it will be like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, it's there's so many fantasies about what it could be when there is no me, and also what the end moment is. What will it be like when the me falls away? That's the thing that me is absolutely so interested in. That it's so focused in that, because it's just about looking at that seeming moment of when it's all over, which is like looking at death, the moment of death, and it's got to be bloody dramatic. It's got to have a fanfare. It's got to have drummers. It's got to have a requiem. It's got to have a whole load of stuff in it. Otherwise,
to death.
Yeah, it's not. If it's going to be death, it's got to be big.
Big bang.
Yeah.
Production.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a huge thing.
Mozart requiem, everything.
Yeah. and interestingly enough, in death, when of me. And in actual death of the body, it's the least thing that you expect. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah. Yeah, there was a guy that I was speaking to, and he was on the toilet, and then he wasn't on the toilet. Finito.
What a way to go.
What a way to go.
Flush all your troubles down the drain.
Yeah. So, that's not that's not, how I want me to fall away,
I mean, somebody that died this way.
The me fell away.
Or the me fell away.
Yeah.
Whilst on the toilet.
While on the throne.
Yeah. There wasn't a fanfare there. So
all the Buddhas rose up and clapped.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, in a way, it's beautiful.
I was going to ask the follow-up question, but I let
it. These physical bodies seem to be made of such complex systems, intelligent design. It seems that there has to be intention behind it.
Well, only according to me.
Right.
Yeah. And I know, and all me does is separate things into little bits, so it looks like it's very complicated. Why does it have to be that complicated? It's just energy in that form. It seems complicated.
So all that look into science, complex science.
The more you look into,
systems.
the more you look into it, the more complex
yeah.
it seems to be because you're trying to find something.
So it seems like it's intelligently designed,
Yeah.
intentionally.
Yeah, absolutely. It's intentional. It's designed for something.
There has to be a creator.
And who is designing it and what's the intention, right?
Right.
Let's find out. And it almost builds a kind of paranoia in it. You know, we've got to find out who did this because they obviously, and also, why the hell did they put the appendix there?
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous. Let's sort that out straight away.
They screw some shit up.
You know, they really, messed that up, that whole thing, and, ridiculous.
It's an amazing trick.
Yes. Yeah. Well, nobody's tricking anybody. But it seems like that, yeah. Yeah.
Do you have children, David?
No. I don't have anything.
Would you present this to kids? Would you have you ever tried or have you ever?
No, I mean, children, well, first of all, children under a certain age, and, there's not going to be, there's just no one there. So just as an irrelevant conversation. Okay. And then after a certain age is also an irrelevant conversation because they don't want to talk about this at all. There's nothing that but there are certain things that I've heard of, where there's a recognition in reasonably young children that where there's something recognized that there's a sense of separateness. And there was something there was that sense when I was quite young. Here there was a sense I used to go to my mother when I was very young, and I would say everything was crushed. Everything feels crushed. I wanted to smooth everything out. It's kind of a real strange thing to say. I wanted everything to be smoothed out. Mm-hmm. Didn't want to. And to me, I get a sense that was a sort of sense of contraction there. Mm. And then later on, there was a sense that everything seemed to be at a distance, and I felt like there was almost like a mist in front of me, because everything seemed to be distant. And I was told I had dissociation disorder of some kind or whatever it was, but it only made sense when I when I heard Tony talking, and he would talk about this sense of separateness and all the rest of it, and I thought, yeah, that's it. That's what that is. And I think that kids have a sense of this, and perhaps early on, but there isn't necessarily a talking about about this that is responding to or access to. There's a lot of things going on for kids in their life. A lot of parents with grand designs and all kinds of things that seem to be going on.
What age were you when you met Tony?
I was well, it was 2006, so I was in my late 20s, about 28, 29, something like that. Yeah, 27, 28, 29, something like that.
The contraction that you mentioned that happens when a child starts to perceive itself as being separate.
Yeah.
That's when the contraction starts. It doesn't come at the time of birth.
No, no, because babies are different. You know what I mean? They're different. And up until I think, about two-ish, there seems to be a very significant difference. And then that, that sort of period, what they call the terrible twos, or whatever, is terrible because that's in a certain sense where all of these sort of this point at which the brain gets to a point of being able to abstract a sense of myself. There's a certain level of intricacy, perhaps, with the development of the brain, that then starts that up, and then is kind of heavily influenced by what is around it as well. Very, for me, is a real thing. And my parents say so, I'm a me, they're a me, everybody's me. And there's, you've entered into, in a way, the adult world. So it's that's what seems to happen in that story of things. Yeah.
Interesting. When you said as a kid you had that sense of being crushed.
Yeah.
And you told your
mother, yeah.
She probably said, "Oh my God, you poor thing, what's wrong with you? I wanted to take you to the doctor or something."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had a similar thing when you said that. I brought it up.
Yeah.
Instead of crushed, though, everything is inside out.
Okay. Yeah.
But I couldn't articulate.
Yeah. Exactly. It's funny.
And it was such a overwhelming feeling.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to tell anybody about it.
It's a very interesting, those sort of very deep feelings that it felt like there's something really weird.
Something's very wrong. Yeah.
And we never know how to express that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think that's that those periods of time, or at least memories of that sense of contraction. Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Yeah. 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 Totally. Yeah. It is a huge shock of some kind in the body. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the birthplace of fear. Because there's now a feeling of being separate from something.
Yeah.
And not, you can't control the something, and now it could be a threat, and then there's fear.
Yeah, it's a rope that seems like a snake.
Yeah.
It's something like that. It's a there's something is, oh my God. And there's it is in a way it's a fear of an illusory hallucination. It's being in a it's like a fever. Kids can get into that fever, and then it's a hallucinate. They hallucinate. The high heat of that fever creates this hallucination. I'm separate from everything. Oh my God. Yeah.
Why wouldn't we create like an environment where we foster that state of being before, too? Like change the way we communicate.
Well,
or do you think the brain is going to do this no matter what? It's going to perceive separation.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not anything to do with it's nothing to do with humans designing this.
Control.
It's nobody's fault. Nobody's doing this. This isn't anybody's fault. This is just what seems to happen. It's nobody is doing any of this. There's no choice.
I'm not suggesting there's a fault. I'm just saying there's a phenomenon arising where identification is happening and we believe we're separate beings suspended in time. And if we can see that there's a moment in time at 2 where that's where it seems to happen.
It would be me trying to fix this.
Right.
It would just make it worse.
It is just me trying to fix it.
Oh my goodness.
There's no way out.
Government would control it.
Yeah.
There's no way out.
And religion has tried. And religion has tried.
Of course.
That's what everything is. Everything about human culture is trying.
Yes.
It's all a trying. It's all a trying and trying and trying and trying.
And doing and making meaning and purpose.
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
maybe that's the reason I'm here, is to come up with this concept
And
I
keep
just
going.
tossed out.
Keep going. Keep going no matter what, it's this rage against the dying of the lights,
Does anybody know the winning numbers? So I don't have to do anything.
What numbers?
You actually don't.
I think I'll stop some good.
I don't think it will stop. If it's meant to stop, it stop. That's what I'm hearing. Like all this trying to stop. Like if it's meant to go, if it's goes on, it goes on, and if it stops, it stops. So maybe like that. It's
Yeah, just don't take
No
anything
ownership.
seriously.
No doers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's the end of an illusion.
Yeah.
what would you say, David, about like this attempt, like this, like if you start observing a little bit, this attempt to fix, stop, this attempt, like when you watch the striving, you know, you watch it. And that's it. You just do all you do is that you watch it. It's nothing.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's sort of like
I mean, it just seems to
it's
go
like
on.
this. Well, it's like that. It's trying to, you know, it sounds subtly trying
More doing.
to find something. It's subtly trying to get round the, you know, back of the, you know what I mean? Do it in a subtle way, and then
what if
nobody will know.
But it's not like a, you know, try, like it's not an effort of trying to observe. It's like you're observing like naturally, like here goes again Maria, here goes again Maria trying this, here goes
Well,
again.
that will just seem to happen without you needing to do anything about it. If that's what's happening, that's what's happening. There's nothing that you need to achieve about that, and it
No.
doesn't matter if that doesn't happen.
Right, I see. But there seems to be happening here. Like
Okay.
there she goes again, there
Okay,
she
yeah,
goes,
yeah.
there she goes,
Okay,
there she
fine.
goes, there
Yeah,
she goes, there
okay.
she goes.
Yeah, yeah, sure. There's a sense there of there being a recurring pattern.
Yes, she can stop it and
No. Yeah. That's what seems to be happening. Yeah. Yeah.
Is this your day job?
I mean, this is one of them. One of them.
When we were talking about the other one, third one back.
what? There is another one. There's another career that you have.
I do several things. Yeah, I do several things. I don't, you know, just speak about this. There's not that many people to to speak to about it. You know, and that, not surprisingly.
Yeah. Should we assume that you love that?
I love speaking. Yeah.
No, the other things.
The other one.
Oh, yeah,
The worldly things that are keeping the roof over your head.
Yeah. No, there's certainly there's parts of those things which I really I'm drawn to doing. Yeah. They're used. I mean, in a way, they're things that I used to do more in my previous existence, and that some of those things are sort of falling away and changing. But yeah.
Because Tim was saying that that's it. He could just
No, but yeah,
He just couldn't.
I totally understand that. But in a way, there was no pleasure in him going towards that at all. And when that's the case, then it's over.
You
But
can't control that either.
No.
There's pleasure.
But I mean, the lots of the things that I do were associated with Chinese medicine, with you know, things that I love, like, or I love certain, you know, movements, Tai Chi and Qigong. I love that kind of thing. You know, that's just things that I like. I enjoy that. You know, not because I'm good at it or, you know, trying to get anywhere, but simply because it feels good.
Or because they're relevant.
Or because
They're relevant.
no, they're not relevant.
They're
at
not
all.
relevant
No,
at all,
not-
David.
No, not at all.
Right.
But there's those things associated with that sort of work to some degree.
Yes.
It's quite, you know, it's so there's an interest that I
Yes,
have of
yes.
that. Yeah. I like talking. This is much more like the more completely open, free expression. But this is not necessarily possible with everybody. Not everybody is happy to talk about this. This is
Well, the open and the free can also feel like the open and the freeness of this message.
oh yeah,
And also, of course,
it can, exactly.
unfortunately.
Yeah, because it seems like it goes against a lot of what would be considered normal, you know, and also, you know, it goes against a lot of things that people are very heavily invested in.
Well, that's the issue.
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
Me, yes, it goes against me. So that's a huge investment, you know. So yeah.
So is it that I am becomes what is?
It's that I am falls away and that all there is left is what is. Yeah.
Yeah, because it does kind of seem like those two, like those are at opposite poles. Like what is like the unobject, like the impartial,
Well, it's
neutral, everything, and the I am is everything's about me.
Well, it's more. I would say that it's more like a bubble. It's more like a bubble. That of me is just a bubble, and it bursts, and it was empty, and all there was what all there was a bubble, and then there's all there is just what is. See what I mean? It's that the bubble just pops, if you like.
It's funny that you use that analogy. We have this expression that you pop my bubble.
Yeah, that's my bubble. Yeah,
You pop my bubble.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which is like a deflation of ego.
Yeah,
so to speak,
that's right.
It's so, and that's in the common parlance.
It's common, yeah. It's funny. There's things like that in language, isn't there?
Yes, it's there.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure.
It's there in the
Yeah.
language.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing because all there is this.
Yeah.
There's just this. There's always, you know, beginning of the conversation, there was just this. Now there's just this. All there is this. Just immediacy. And no one. For no one, yeah. And there's no one, yeah.
Yeah, even that statement is too much almost.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's all
Isn't
too
it
much.
something that-
No,
all
it's all too much. No, it's all too much. Sorry, yeah.
I get it. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah. You can't really describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, you know, like what you were just saying. And then here it's something unfruitful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
sure. Oh, yeah.
that nagging.
Yeah,
Like, it's kind of low, but it's
Yeah.
always there.
I know.
It's always
I
there.
I do understand.
So it's like, okay, but what do we have to do next?
Yeah.
Okay, gotta
Yeah, but
go
that's
do
I mean that's
this.
the point. You
Do
know, there's
that.
nothing. That's the point. That's the amazing thing is that there's just nothing. It's real. This is such a.
But the
in a sense-
nagging is still there.
Oh yeah. Even if you're told that a million times, even if you hear this expression a million times, it is still that fever
Yeah.
of meing, of being, of trying to get something. Still, just can't believe that there's nothing to do. There's nothing to become.
Well, the nagging is like, I want to be content for once.
Yeah,
be
just give
content.
me something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
just
know?
give me the thing that I'm looking for God's sake.
Oh God.
Exactly. Like, what the F?
Yeah, no, what the F? I mean, more than that, what the fuck, you know?
But you're in trouble.
Right, I don't care, but that's the, but really, that's the, yeah.
Exactly. What the fuck? You know, it's just this.
The
tiring
dropping of
not
the
being content.
Yeah.
Fulfilled,
Yeah, and well,
like-
there's that sense of like, kind of like, well, it's just not fair. You know, I mean, that's all I want.
And that's my right.
That's my right. That's my birthright. That's all
my
I want.
birthright, for heaven's sake.
That's right.
Demand it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You should protest.
From who? From what? From nothing.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of feeling this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Ben,
Absolutely.
Ben,
And
no
that's
me
what's
rally.
happening.
Yeah,
No me rally.
demand our freedom.
No me rally.
We demand our freedom.
No me rally.
No me.
Rally.
Yeah.
And then this universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That was a good one.
Yeah.
What a disappointment.
Yeah.
Especially that
Yeah,
God guy.
God is a real disappointment.
What an asshole.
He has a big middle finger, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, God's a big disappointment. I mean, I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Really, it's a, it's a cruel joke. Yeah, the whole thing.
And I may just die one day without even anything.
Well, there's
Of what I know. Of what I know. I mean, you know something different, but of what I know.
Well, no, this doesn't know anything. I mean, that's the point. Is that this isn't a knowing. This is a not knowing. This is a falling away of knowing.
Right, that's what I meant.
This is less. This is less.
There's separation. You know, you, me, you know,
Well,
like,
yeah, exactly. That's well, then me wants to make that separation. It also loves to do that kind of thing because then it sort of creates a sort of hierarchy and all kinds of other things.
and a journey.
And a journey to get there. Yeah. When actually all there is just this. What is this immediacy? Just immediacy.
So you're asking yourself, like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? But you could be asking God that too, praying to God. But why is this happening? Why is this
God
happening?
is me, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're gonna make the same point, which
Okay.
is that. Oh gosh, no, I forgot my point.
So
What is he?
Yeah,
He's good.
He's good.
but what you were saying, like, who are you talking to? Who are you going to
Yeah,
actually
yes.
ask?
Yes,
You
yes.
know,
Exactly.
right? So, but a lot of us were taught at a very early age
yeah.
to pray to an imaginary person,
Right.
you know, and that
Yeah.
became the norm,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And when
in
the prayers didn't
adulthood,
get
you just start
answered,
looking to yourself for the answers.
Well, in fact, actually, what's going on is that there is there's always a talking to me talking to itself,
Right, which is nothing.
which is
Just like when people pray to God.
but
which is
praying to
nothing.
God is me talking to me.
Yeah, which is nothing. I mean, what is me talking to me? It's nothing.
Well, it's just
It's one hand clap.
yeah. It's of course it's
It's
just
the one hand clap.
yeah, it's just me, me, myself, and I.
One hand
Yeah.
clap.
Yeah, which can almost start to sound like the awareness stuff when they're like all the self. Because it is.
Well, it is
but
the
it's
same.
yeah,
It's the same.
it is. Yeah, exactly.
It's
But
exactly.
then
It's the same as. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it is exactly the same. Self-inquiry. I mean, self-inquiry is one version of it.
Yeah.
Another version of it is devotion to a deity.
Yes, yes.
It's exactly the same. It's just a different version of the same thing.
The same thing being
Me talking to me.
me talking to.
Me trying to figure it out with me.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And when I'm talking to you, that's me talking to you.
Well, there isn't that. There's definitely, in a certain sense, that there's a me, but over here there's nothing. So there's not going to be. It's gonna
But
break
if I
out of
think
that.
I'm talking to you,
Sure.
then that's me talking to you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And that's
what.
and
Yes,
that very often is what goes on.
Yeah.
very often.
Right.
Not just very long.
Yeah, because there's an assumption that there is me
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's it. Me just immediately assumes that. Oh, there's somebody there, and they know what they're talking about. This
Yeah.
doesn't have any. There's nothing, and there's no knowledge of what is being expressed.
Sounds like psychosis to me.
Oh yeah.
Well, do all of you know about tomorrow?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so everyone's coming tomorrow?
Do you want us to go home now?
Yeah.
Are you tired of us?
Well, no, not
Do you
really.
want us to go home?
So you can sleep here.
What's the time for tomorrow?
2 to 6.
2 to 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
But
know
you
where?
You have the address.
The
right?
surfboard place, right?
The Granite,
Yeah,
Granite City workplaces. Yeah.
It's in the.
The what's that?
Same place.
Yeah. Can I have one last question?
Please.
So again, it's the same trick pony, but I just want to say, I want to hear you say, I want to hear you
Yeah, it's
answer.
so weird.
But my one trick pony is showing out, right? So one of my greatest fears in life
Yeah.
is that I would die the way I am.
You'll die the way you are.
No, that I'll die the way I am.
Okay. Yeah.
That I
Well,
haven't-
without having achieved it.
Nirvana, enlightenment,
Yes.
that I'll just die the
Yes.
way I am. I just want to hear you say something.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, dying the way that you are assumes that there's something better, that you should be
Yes.
something better, and
Yes.
that if you die the way that you are,
I
then,
failed.
then you failed. You're not going to get on the track of of reincarnation. I mean, it sounds like that's what Nirvana. When you talk about Nirvana and all the rest of it, you're just not on track.
I
Sorry.
failed, but more
So
than
you're
that,
saying
I
if
feel
you're
like
not
I
in-
failed. I failed my life.
Yeah, you failed.
I didn't
yeah.
do it right.
No, you didn't do it right. And
I
you,
didn't
and
do
you,
it right.
Yeah, you messed it all up.
I messed it all up.
And
Don't worry,
now-
you get a chance to get reincarnated and
No,
suffer
yeah,
all
you-
over
you will
again.
never
It's
die.
really messed
and
with
now
you.
you can't get what you longed for,
Yes.
and you're just gonna die. It's a complete failure.
Yes.
That's a complete failure.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So this is the celebration in a way of failure.
What is the celebration that I can get it?
Well, it's the point is that this is always about failure. You will never get what it is that you long for. Never. You can't get it. So that is absolutely inevitable that will die exactly as you are, without having achieved anything.
I'm not accepting. See that I'm fighting it.
Cause for celebration.
You know, I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it a little bit. I find that in me, like I'm
Sure.
fighting it. Like, if only you try harder. If you know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
that-
but
that-
that's
the
the-
pony's,
but that's what-
the
but
pony's
that-
showing up.
Of course, because
Try harder.
what's there. That what's there is trying harder, and constantly. And in that, there's a constant avoidance of what is. So the end of that is just this is just a complete failure, but that isn't complete failure. That's trying hard.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can't hear that
No,
I'm a
no,
failure.
no.
You cannot want. Does
I don't
not
want to
want
be a failure.
does
Fuck
does
that.
not want to hear that I'm a
I'm
failure.
not gonna be a failure.
I'm
I'm
not
gonna
be-
win.
I am gonna be a winner.
I'm going to be special.
I'm gonna be special. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
That's just
I
me.
want to get it.
And there's no and either way, it's not. There's nothing that is nobody's fault. That's nobody's fault.
The pony.
The pony's nobody's fault.
The pony.
Just a pony.
It's just a pony.
Just learn to trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is me even talking to me.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cute.
Well, nothing talking to nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
But nothing in contraction talking to nothing. Yeah. There's nothing real.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the whole one of the big messages here is that there's no me. So
Sure.
we're just talking about me talking.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, of course, it's so difficult to kind of talk about this. There is no me, no real me, but there is in the me state, there is a sense that there is. So we always talk of these two levels in a way, or do these two ways of describing it.
Yeah, how to think about like a state in differently than so that's the distinction that you're is a state rather than
well, a state. I mean, a state is just something which the only reason I call it a state is that it's not an absolute thing.
Yeah,
it's not real. It's not a thing that you can hold on to and go, oh, this is real.
Or independent, which is how it feels when you have free will.
Absolutely, it's just energetic state. And even that's saying too much really about what it is, because it's a kind of description of it, but it's just a means of being able to talk about it.
This is lovely.
Yeah,
This is lovely.
it is, isn't it?
Lovely.
It is.
This is lovely.
I should have it every day
This is so lovely. This is so lovely.
till we die.
No, I just meant this gathering is so lovely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. It's really lovely speaking to you all.
Thank you so much.
And, oh, no, that's such a pleasure. And I'm glad to talk to you. All lovely things to say. Thanks.